The Chicago Bears pass rush has garnered a lot of attention over this offseason of how it was not addressed. But one of the positions that does have talent on it that is, last season at least, was completely hurt by injury was the secondary for the Chicago Bears. And while we have new safeties coming in, and Dylan Thunderman and Kobe Bryant, the Chicago Bears cornerbacks, which was often injured last year, isn't any better right now. We already got Kyler Gordon, who was reportedly dealing with another soft tissue injury. And with Kyler Gordon and his importance to how Dennis Allen wants to run this scheme in the system, it's going to be interesting if he's not ready to go by the start of the season. And also with Jaylon Johnson, his absence over the last couple of years, especially last year, and him not being healthy for any part of the season, really, there's already starting to be some questions raised on what his future with the Chicago Bears is going to look like. All this, plus Al Harris also taking accountability for some of the shortcomings of Tyreek Stevenson. We're going to talk very heavily about the Chicago Bears and their secondary in this episode, and 4 Bears who need to have breakout seasons and step up for the Chicago Bears and take the most out of the opportunity ahead of them. We'll talk about all that and more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers on the channel by the start of the season. We can only do that with you guys. About 50% of you guys who watch the videos every single day are not subscribed to the channel. What are you waiting for? Stop freeloading, hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow. In exchange for that, we're delivering the most daily content of any Chicago Bears channel out there. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going to start off with this one, is that there's been talk now that Kyler Gordon is dealing with another soft tissue injury. Keep in mind, Kyler Gordon missed 14 games last season, had 2 different stints on the injury reserve as well. And one of the concerns about it being a soft tissue injury this early on with Kyler Gordon, it just comes down to this in the offseason are not very minor, right? I think when you look at the pattern that Kyler Gordon has also been on with soft tissue injuries, we've seen it also with like Jaylon Johnson, it raises some serious concern because with soft tissue injuries, the thing that only really heals it is rest. And very rarely when you get a soft tissue injury during the season, now we're still in the offseason, so he still has time to rest. Whether he sits out OTA, sits out part of a mini camp and training camp, that may be the thing there. But this one comes from Brad Biggs. It says this: Gordon is nursing a soft tissue injury despite not reporting to the team's offseason program in the previous weeks. This is Gordon's 4th soft tissue injury since last August. This is huge. Now, sources say as well as this, Gordon wasn't with the team at the onset of the offseason program, has since been out with the soft tissue injury. So we know that Gordon has missed some time, right? And the thing about soft tissue is that if you don't have time for it to heal, you're going to be dealing with it in varying degrees for the entirety of the year. That's why the Bears do need to address this very early on with rest, right? So seeing Kyler Gordon sit out anything is going to be important because you want the most time for that to heal up. Now, there is, I want to paint this in a realistic light. There is a realistic world in which this may not be healed fully at any point this season. Like even with training camp officially not starting yet, even with the preseason games not starting yet, and we got a few months until that starts, is that if this doesn't fully heal by the time he puts the pads on, there's a high probability it will never heal during the 2026 season. So even if it's not to the severity of like Jaylon Johnson's last year or even Kyler Gordon's last year, there's a chance that he's going to be dealing with this in some shape, form, or fashion, which may mean sitting out some snaps. It may mean sitting out some quarters. It may mean doing some things like that, if he, depending on the pain level that he's feeling in every game. Now, the benefit of it is that if the rest of the cornerback room is healthy, we got bodies in there, right? We got Jaylon Johnson if he's healthy. We got Terrell Smith. We got Tyreek Stevenson. We got Malik Muhammad. We got bodies there that are going to be able to help and fill out, and that you hope that are going to be able to come in and perform well. But it just adds to another level of concern for a player that already missed so much time last season being injured. And so that's the thing. It is not encouraging right now. You want your secondary to be fully healthy. Of course, Malik Muhammad could prove very important for the Bears this year. And That's why the Bears drafted him, and that's why so many Bears fans that went out and looked at this guy's tape and saw that this guy's been shutting corners down at the collegiate level for a long time, he's going to be in there. But, hearing that now you already didn't have Jaylon Johnson, who wasn't present in the offseason program, not a rarity for him. That's that as a veteran, he sits out some of those, and it's not really a big deal. It's not to be said that it was to do with anything with injury, so I'm not worried about that there yet. But, Tyreek Stevenson already had a disappointing year last year. There's going to be some concerns how much you have to rely on him, whether warranted or not. Malik Muhammad's a rookie, right, who rookies get targeted, and maybe that's going to be trial by fire for Malik Muhammad that he needs to succeed in this league, and that's perfectly fine. But, I just hope that coming into this year, we were going to get to see the secondary be fully healthy because of how much the secondary and how much the way that the scheme works for the secondary here and how much that's important for Dennis Allen's system is that you want those guys to be fully healthy. So Kyler Gordon, who already got an extension, already signed his money, if he has another year of being often injured, there's no doubt when he's healthy, he's one of the best nickel cornerbacks in the league. You cannot take away from that. But he hasn't been able to stay on the football field. And so that continues to add to that concern for the Chicago Bears. And that's something that, when you have players that are often injured and you can't bet on them, that's when, you start having to ask some tough questions. Now, the Bears aren't at that yet. I don't want to start that conversation yet. I'm not saying that they're having the tough conversations about the future of Kyler Gordon or anything, but eventually you have to get to that point. Eventually you could get to that point if a player that could be so important, you can either make this scheme or you cannot make this scheme. Now, when you look at Kyler Gordon over the course of his career, before last season, the most games he ever missed in the season was 4, and that was his second year where he only played 13 games. Now, that still is a month, basically, of a season, right? But last year, only playing in 3 games last season, and for a season where people were expecting a breakout for you, Kyler Gordon has to really come into this season whenever he's healthy and play really well. And so what happened? We'll see what happens in regards to that one. But I want to turn this one over to you guys now. Hearing about what's going on with Kyler Gordon and hearing that, how major do you view this injury, a soft tissue injury at this point in the offseason for Kyler Gordon? Or do you look at the 3-4 months that we have until football games actually start meaning something that, take your time, young fella, and we'll see you when we see you. Let me know what you guys think. How you feel on that one down below? How severe do you think this could hurt the Chicago Bears, even in their preparation? Let me know that down below. But with that said, right, another cornerback on this team that is a player that should be a leader with this one is Jaylon Johnson. And Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune raised some questions in regards to Tyreek Stevenson. In regards to Jaylon Johnson and his future with the team, and saying this. Flash forward to this offseason. Johnson has noticeably absent from the voluntary portion of the offseason program, which isn't anything new for the former Pro Bowler. But Chicago Tribune's Brad Biggs believes Johnson is facing a make-or-break year that might result in his departure or another contract extension. Johnson, who's 27, returned from core muscle surgery after week 1 to play in 7 regular season games. He signed a $13.5 million in 2027 with a $2 million roster bonus. If he plays well this year, he'll be in line for a new deal as the cornerback market has taken off since he was extended in 2024. If he doesn't, the Chicago Bears could be poised to move on, which is the standard for veterans near the end of a rich second contract. Now, this is something that I want to be very clear on here. I don't think that we necessarily have a big, huge worry or concern that we need to be worried about Jaylon Johnson's future quite yet. But I do see this, that it could very well get there, and it could get there soon. And I think when you have a player that is a Pro Bowler, there's no doubt when Jaylon Johnson is healthy and he's on, you know how talented Jaylon Johnson is. There's some people that doubted that because the interception number wasn't there. Again, I've always told those people to look deeper into actual football and the things that go into making good football players, but that's a conversation for casuals versus depthness of your football love, right? So while the absence in the offseason program is not unusual for Jaylon Johnson, that's not the part that we need to be considered, that we need to be worried here, right? But keep in mind that we are only a few days removed from last week. Even Al Harris talking a little bit about saying I'd rather comment on the people that are here. We don't really know because Jaylon hasn't been here, but we're sure once he's healthy, he'll be fine. Johnson is scheduled to make that $13 million in 2027. The $2 million roster bonus, that's there, right? If Jaylon plays to the level that we know that he can be, which is an elite level, that's an absolute steal. But if he does not return back to that form, or he has another season where he's often injured and not on the field, it's going to be difficult. This is a season where Jaylon Johnson has to prove, can you anchor a defense and earn another deal? Or, no, despite how good you are at your height, could your future start being a little bit murky here around the Chicago Bears? The Bears could be forced into a tough veteran decision. Now, my hope is that Jaylon Johnson ends up coming out playing well and that there are no questions about Jaylon Johnson's future. We look at it and we say, Jaylon's ready to go. Let's lock in. Let's keep it pushing, right? But you have to prove continually, especially as you become a veteran. Now, it's not like Jaylon Johnson's over 30, but when you're a veteran, you have to continually prove that you can still be part of the team's core going into the future, right? And that's just what this comes down to. So, Jaylon is, much like I said with Kyler Gordon, he can be so important to how this team schemes and wants to play defensively. But his ability to shut down one side of the field, that is a huge thing and luxury that not a lot of teams have with their corners. Jaylon can be that. And Jaylon needs to lock in with this one. I personally, I'll say this. I don't want to hear any contract talk from Jaylon Johnson. I don't want to hear any talk about, I want to have one of the best the cornerback seasons ever. I don't want to hear any talk. Put it on the football field. At this point, we know the talk. We know you are an extremely confident player, and that's great, right? That's great. But confidence, when you're not getting production, just seems like noise. And that's for anybody. That is not me being against Jaylon Johnson. That is for any player in any sport. All the confidence in the world without the production that matches that confidence, it ends up just being noise. And so it's up to Jaylon Johnson to prove that he's not just yapping. You're going to come in here, you're going to give the Chicago Bears team something it's been missing, something that it needs, add an extra dynamic, and be the player that we all have seen you be able to be. Because we need that here in Chicago. We need a Jaylon Johnson. Now, I know people are going to say, well, Haize, maybe Malik Muhammad can step in and be the quarterback one. Here's the thing. Maybe there's a chance of that. But I would much rather operate from a place that we're saying, hey, listen, Malik, Jaylon, Kyler, we got players that are all best at what they do. Let's go out there. Because if Malik Muhammad ends up being a shutdown corner in this league, and you can add that to a Jaylon Johnson that's also a shutdown corner in this league, and then you got Kyler Gordon, one of the best nickels in the league as well, that would be something that is the makings of a possibly elite defense if you can get the pass rush together. But again, all the woulda, coulda, shouldas, all the potential in the world does not matter if that potential is not on the fucking football field. I don't want to see another injury-riddled season of what could have been for the Chicago Bears secondary. I want to see a season where the Chicago Bears secondary actually shows up when now Kobe Bryant, Dylan Thieneman, what we have going on there, and we shut some shit the fuck down and make the job as easy as we can on a pass rush that hasn't necessarily made the step that we thought it was going to make. So that's my thoughts. That's my hopes. Let's see what the Chicago Bears can do with it. But we're not done talking about the secondary yet. Al Harris talked about Tyrique Stevenson. Tyrique Stevenson is such a hot button topic for so many Bears fans because Bears fans either hate him or they see some potential still in him or whatever it is. But for what it's worth with this one, right? Al Harris was asked about Tyrique Stevenson, and he said this in regards to it. I would say I had to do a better job with me. Because regardless of anything else, what shows on the field, that falls in my wheelhouse. Towards the end of the year, I thought he was excellent in terms of how he was handling himself, being accountable. I think that led into the guy we're seeing right now. The talent is definitely there. He can do whatever I ask him to do. Now, you guys, and many of you guys have shared the same sentiments. The part of the reason I have confidence in this Bears team is because of the coaching staff. That is a huge reason why I have faith in this Chicago Bears team to be better than what they were last season, right? Is that this coaching staff has taken so much accountability for who and what this team can be and how they plan on developing this team into being the team that they want them to be this season. And so when a coaching staff takes that level of accountability, me personally, I listen to that. And so hearing the coaching staff continue to do that, I tell you what, that is more accountability than we've had on the Bears staff under each of the two regimes that came before Ben Johnson's regime. So here's what I say with this, right? When you look at it, last season, Tyrique Stevenson, 49 tackles, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 pass breakups in 13 games and 10 starts. That's not bad, right? And I think when you look at Tyrique, he did have some strong games. There is talent in Tyrique Stevenson. The question becomes about how consistently can that talent show up for you, and has some of the stuff that he's done before where you're just disappointed Bears fans where he fell asleep at times, how much of that player is completely gone for the Bears team? And that's the question that you have to ask here, right? There's been some impressive flashes. There have been some concerning red flags. There have been everything over the course of Tyrique Stevenson's career. But this is a season where it is truly make or break for Tyrique Stevenson if you want another contract with the Chicago Bears. There's going to be another team that bites on you one way or another because there is talent there. But if you want to stick around for this team, you got to show it. Now, and as we've seen with Jaquan Brisker last year, you can even stay healthy and show it and still not stay around if the team feels that they can upgrade from you easily. So it's all up to Tyreek. I love hearing that Al Harris is taking responsibility for saying that he feels he can coach up Tyreek to be better. I love hearing that. But showing, like I said earlier, show and prove. You show and prove it, everybody's going to shut up about it. If it's on the football field, live and in living color, people are going to shut up about it. Can we shut up about it this year? That's the hope. And let's see if we can do that, man. But let me know you guys' thoughts in regards to Al Harris's comments on Tyreek Stevenson, how you're feeling currently about Tyreek Stevenson, right? This isn't just about, in my opinion, Tyreek proving himself. It's about also the coaching staff maximizing on him. So can Tyreek Stevenson win back full trust in a contract year from the Chicago Bears fans? Let's see. Let's see, because I tell you what, with the cornerbacks and the pass rush, the stability there goes hand in hand. I've always said it. There's a symbiotic relationship between the pass rush and the pass coverage. You need them all to be on point. Terrell Smith returning from injury. Malik Muhammad becoming more important as the season goes on. Your veterans in Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Jaylon Johnson, all have their varying questions about them. If this cornerback room can be healthy, I think this defense can be dangerous. But we got to see how this team is going to bounce back from it, and let's see what can happen. With that said, before we end it, because there's been a lot of, I don't know if negativity is the right word for it. There's been a lot of questions in this episode. I want to end this talking about 4 players that I think are going to be drastically important to what the Bears can do this year, right? Number one I want to talk about is DeMarco Jackson, right? With TJ Edwards, maybe being hurt to start the season, we'll see. Tremaine Edmonds being out of it this year. He's gone now. DeMarco Jackson already stepped up last season with TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds out, right? DeMarco Jackson, got a Pro Football Focus grade of 83.8, 43 tackles, 3 pass deflections, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 QB hit, 1 sack, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery in 16 games, right? So there's a lot of there that really worked for DeMarco Jackson last season. Coming in now to the 2026 season, where DeMarco Jackson could end up a day one starter for the Chicago Bears. Yeah, we got Keyshawn Elliott. Yeah, we got Devin Bush, who's a new acquisition, but DeMarco Jackson could be a starter day one, and the impact that he makes really could help make or break that linebacker room, and you're really looking at him building off of what he did last season and showing what he can be for the Chicago Bears team. The person that a lot of people should have said is going to be number one is Austin Booker. Austin Booker, right, finished the season with 12 QB hits and 4.5 sacks, which were career highs for him in the second year. We know that he did not play a lot of games, and even in some of the games that he did play, he was hurt last season. And so with so much uncertainty being around the Chicago Bears edge position, this needs to be a year where Austin Booker answers some of those questions and shows he's ready to be a starter in this one. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see Dayo Odeyingbo coming in as a starter again. I want Austin Booker to show so much between training camp, preseason, whatever, that he looks like he's ready to make that leap, and the coaching staff trust him. I think already not feeling like you had to address the edge drastically this season shows that there has to be a level of confidence in somewhere in that edge room outside of Montez Sweat, and I would like to believe that is Austin Booker who can show that, right? So if Austin Booker makes that step and can get double-digit sacks, it helps change the narrative on this defensive line. It's not just up to him. Von Dexter has to step up. Grady Jarrett, as a veteran, has to show he has to have a better year. It would be nice to get something out of Shamar Turner as well in this, right? Like, it would be nice to see those guys do that, but Austin Booker is the one guy that I'm really looking at and saying if he comes into the season and has a true breakout, it can really make or break the Chicago Bears season because of what they need. Next up, Kyle Monangai. Kyle Monangai is not a secret anymore, right? 783 yards, 5 touchdowns in a rookie year after being a 7th-round pick, right? But, when you look at what some of the shortcomings that we had from play calling, not going to a rushing game early, not trusting Kyle Monangai early as well. Like, this could be a season where legitimately the Chicago Bears could have 2,000-yard rushers. And, and Kyle Monangai making an additional leap and step up, it just goes to solidify that how Ryan Poles found talent out of a 7th-round selection. So, listen, 169 carries last year, average of 4.6 yards per carry. Kyle Monangai has so much tools in the bag. And that's not to say the 18 receptions for 164 yards he had there also. So, as a dual-threat running back, and with his ability, once he gets the ball and is that possession, receiver as well, Kyle Monangai can make some shit happen. I really want to see a big season from Kyle Monangai, and knowing him, talking to him a couple of times and things like that, I think you know exactly who Kyle Monangai can turn into this year. And then next up, Jahade Walker, right? Came on late last year, 2 touchdowns in the final 3 games of the season. Is probably going to chief Khalif Raymond for wide receiver 3 snaps, which, we'll also see Xavier Thomas try to compete with that, right? But I think Jahade Walker if he comes into the season, I've talked a little bit about him before, and he really shows that he can be a consistent wide-out threat for this team, man, does that do so much for a player that was an undrafted rookie. For a player that was a rookie last season, it would do so much for Jaylon Walker and the Chicago Bears and the financial situation heading into next season to be able to have those things locked up. Can they do it? We'll see. But these are the guys that I'm really looking at as kind of under-the-radar guys who can really break out for this Bears team. DeMarco Jackson, Austin Booker, common non-guy, Jaylon Walker. 2 guys on offense, 2 guys on defense. I think these guys are really poised for big seasons for the Chicago Bears. And let's see. But I want to hear from you guys. Who's your under-the-radar pick for a Bears player that could explode out in 2026 and how that helps the Chicago Bears? Let me know that part down below. That's going to do it for today's episode. Of course, there are concerns in the cornerback room because that is such an important part of Dennis Allen's system. And a lot of these guys need to show it. Jaylon Johnson wants another extension. He needs to show it this year. Kylan Gordon, he has to prove that he can stay healthy. All those things are there. Then you have the guys that I mentioned that are poised for breakouts this season also. Let's see what this team can do. Let's see what they can be. I want to hear from you guys on all these topics and Tyreek Stevenson down below. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. You can follow us at Shy Bear Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.